Hello, everybody, and welcome to our third lesson in our book. It's green. It says integers 1. So we're starting on page 10. We did this in class last time, and so this page should be filled out with your notes. So I'm going to put notes up here. That was the activity where you had to describe where a point was and write down your strategies here. So you have something already here. And then the same with the next page. We did that in class together. For any student who needs to look at this again, or if you were at home and didn't get it, we're putting the points into this field, which is called a coordinate plane. So the horizontal axis is called the x-axis. We always label it with an X. And the vertical axis is called the y-axis. And we always label that with a Y. And these are called ordered pairs. They have two numbers. One is the X and one is the Y. The X comes before the Y. Okay. And the points are called A, B, C with capital letters. So when you plot the points or put them in this coordinate plane, you always start at this location. That's called the origin, 0, 0. And then you always move left or right, so horizontally. So you always move on the x-axis first and then up or down. Later on, it's down also on the y-axis. Left, right, up, down. Okay, so 4, 4, you would go 4 to the right and up 4. There's point B. So each square counts as 1. Or point C, start at 0, 0, move 1 to the right and up 5. There's point C. So you learned how to plot these points, and then it was just a matter of filling these words in. The coordinate plane, the origin, horizontal axis, x-axis, vertical axis is the y-axis. The points you're plotting are called the ordered pairs because they have an order. X comes before Y. And then it tells you where to start. You start at the origin and you always move to the right and then up. So that was page 11. You should have that as notes. And I'm moving on. We did this in class as well. This is page 12, where you had parameters, meaning rules to go by. And I gave you the rules. Graph all ordered pairs that fit on the grid. They have to fit. Use only coordinates that are whole numbers, and you have to write down all the ordered pairs, which are down here. So the parameter was X has to be 3 and all your Y values have to be less than 7. So that was the task. See, notice all the X's are 3 and all the Y values are less than 7. They cannot be 7. And so on and so forth. So I gave you 4 of these questions. And you mastered that really well. That was page number 12. And then we move on. This is page 13. This is going to be notes plus homework. Notice that now your coordinate plane has somehow expanded into 4 quadrants. So you have more than we worked in this quadrant on the previous page. So this is what the coordinate plane always looks like. You have 4 quadrants and they're Roman numerals. They're right here in the corner. This is quadrant 1, 2, 3, and quadrant 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And your axis, you always want to label with X and Y. Write it on the corner here. And in the first quadrant, all your X's are positive numbers and your Y are positive numbers. In quadrant 2, your first number is negative and your second number is positive. In quadrant 3, both numbers are negative, X and Y. And in quadrant 4, the X is positive and the Y is negative. So this is kind of an overview where the numbers belong and how they're put together. Okay, so your teacher will discuss the coordinate plane with you including the x-axis, which is always the horizontal, and the y-axis, which is always the vertical. The origin is always where they meet in the middle, and the 4 quadrants, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so you label the x and y axis, we just did that. You label the origin or locate the origin, label it point O. And now we're going to graph the ordered pairs and label them with a given capital letter. So I'm going to let you do that for homework, but I'm going to do, how about a couple? I'm going to do these two for you, and then you have to do the rest. Okay, so these two I'll show you. So point J starts at 0. So you start at the origin, you do not go left or right because 0 is your x, -4 is your y. So you don't move, and then you go down -4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's -4. And this is point J. So you can label all your numbers here and write them next to it, or you can just simply count. These are your, why don't we do that the first time so you see it? These are your positive numbers. And I'm looking at the highest number I need. The highest one looks like it's 8. So that's as far as I have to go. So that works. I got 8. This is your positive y's. These are your negative y's. These are your negative x's. Like I said, if you understand this concept, you don't always have to label every single number on here. You can just count. It's a lot of work to label your x and y axis. All right, so notice positive, positive, quadrant 1, negative, positive, quadrant 2, negative, negative, quadrant 3, positive, negative, quadrant 4. That's how this comes about. So I located J, not moving at all on the x-axis, and then down 4. And then L started 0, 0, -7 on the x-axis, stop, and then up 8 on the y-axis. There's point L. Make your points nice and fat. And then the rest is up to you to find the location of these points, right? And here you're going to describe what location is. Point A, the location is the quadrant number. Let's do point, I've done point L and J, so let's do that one. L is in quadrant 2. Correct? Yep, quadrant 2, there it is. And J is not in a quadrant, it's on an axis. So how do we describe that on y-axis? Notice it's not in a quadrant if it's on an axis. Okay, so you have to fill this in, and that's page 13. And then page 14 is the same activity we did in class. So I'm going to write that here. It's homework, same as page Let's go back to that and look where that was. It's this page 12, where you had the rule and you had to figure out the coordinates and plot them. So 12. So I'll get you started. Okay, so you're going sideways. So this is problem 1. So this goes into this coordinate plane. Do you see? That's how you match it up. Let me get you started. List of ordered pairs, integers only. That's whole numbers. Remember, integers are whole numbers, including 0, including negative numbers. So the rule is x cannot be 0. And y has to be less than 7, negative 7. It cannot be equal to negative 7, less than negative 7. All right, so that's the rule for your coordinates. Now let's think. X cannot be 0. How about, can I take 1? Yeah, let's make x 1. This is your x, the first number, and your y has to be less than negative 7. So how about negative 8? But they have to fit on your coordinate plane. That's the other rule, right? Graph all points in each square on the grid is 1 square unit. So let me label my x-axis and y-axis. So we'll do number 1 together. And so this is your origin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's as far as we can go. Then over here on negative 1. And down below, remember that's below the sea level, negative 1, negative 2. So that's as far as we can go. Let's see. It has to fit on here. The numbers we come up with, is 1, negative 8. Is that going to fit? So start at 0, 0, 1 on to the right, down. Yep, there's 1, negative 8. So that fits. Okay, let's look at another pair that I can come up with. X cannot be 0. Let's make x 2. And y has to be less than negative 7. Well, that won't be, there won't be, so that's, I can't use negative 9 because that won't fit, right? I'm only going to 8 on my y-axis. So it has to be negative 8 again, because it has to be less than negative 0, less than 7. So that's as far as I can go. So 2, negative 8. Start at 0, 0, move to 2 and down to negative 8. So they're all going to be down here. Then I can say x can be 3, but y is always going to be negative 8, it looks like. And then we have x is 4 and x is 5. That's as far as I'll go. And then we can go in the negatives. Negative 1, negative 8, negative 2, negative 8, and negative 3, negative 8, negative 4, negative 8, and negative 5, negative 8. So if we plot those, we'll see. So I plotted the first two, then let's do 3, negative 8. Start at 0, go to 3, and down to the 8. Then 4, -8, start at 0, go to 4 and down -8. And 5, -8, start at 0, go to 5 and down. Now, so we did the positive x's. Notice 4, 5. It's as far as I can go. It's called my domain. I can't go any further because my grid is running out. Then I'm going in the negative direction on the x's. So start at 0, 0, -1, -8. Start at 0, 0, -2, -8, -3, -8, -4, -8, -5. Notice all the lines, and it cannot be 0. So this one is not there because x cannot be 0. So all of these and all of these. So that's the first question. Now the next one is yours. X has to be an even number and y is the opposite of 5. So that would mean y has to be -5 in each case. So let's see what you get. Explain why this ordered pair should not appear on your list. 1 and -7. Why can it not appear on your list? Y has to be less than -7. So remember, this is your x and this is your y. Not equal to. So there you are. So now this is your job, number 2 and number 3, to put these in here and see what you come up with. It looks like there's always some kind of pattern. That's what it looks to me. So this is page 14, and then we're doing page 15 is this one, scaling graphs. Now it's your job to figure out what the scale is. The scale is the numbers on the x and y axis. I have given them to you before, and you now have to figure them out yourself. So I'll give you a little hint. So make this homework, but I'll get you started on it. Okay, so another added difficulty is when you have to decide what numbers are you going to put on the x and y axis. It says for problems 1 to 3, label, which is x and y, and scale the axis appropriately. And so what you have to do is look for the highest or lowest numbers in the ordered pairs. So let's start that. All of these points must be graphed. So that's the problem. You have to fit them all on this grid. This is quadrant 1, by the way. Remember, this is all positive. Notice all our numbers are positive numbers. I don't see any negative numbers. That's why we can fit them in quadrant 1. Now look for the highest x. 6, 10. Ooh, that's high. 2, 0, 4, 1. So 10 is your highest x. So that means I have to fit it on here. But if I go by ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, it won't go. See, runs out at 8. I could make this longer and fit them, but then it's messy. So let's go by twos. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So we don't even need that many, but we couldn't fit it otherwise. This is always 0. And then look at the y's. 8, 14, 16, 4, 12. So the highest is 16. So on the y-axis, I have to make, look at, we can make it by 2's again. 2, 4, 6. The key is you have to have your spaces the same. You can't go, oh, I make this 2 and this 4. It has to be the same distance. I call it evenly spaced. The distance has to be the same. So that's 8. I'm counting up by 2's. 10, 12, 14, 16. Okay, now we can fit the points, correct? A, start at 0, go left, go to the right, always left, right first, horizontally. X comes before Y. 6 and up 8. 10 and 14. 10. 2 and 16. 2. 16. 0, not at all, and then up 4. 4, 12. Okay, this is the one I want to show you. 1 and 11. Notice we don't have a 1. So it's 0, 2. So you have to go in the middle and make that a mental 1. You don't have to write it here. You just have to know that 1 is halfway between 0 and 2. And 11, remember this is your X, this is your Y. 11 is halfway between 10 and 12. So you mentally, you don't have to put even the little red tick mark. You mentally go 1 up 11. So this is called an estimate. Do you all see that? Okay. So now your job is number 2 and 3. You're supposed to label, meaning call it XY axis. Scale are the numbers, and you look for the highest and lowest X's and Y's. Okay, remember this is your X, this is your Y. Good luck on that. And down here in number 4, you have to estimate what are the coordinates. So you have all tick marks are equally spaced. Remember I told you about that? You don't want to make it like one big and one smaller, equally spaced. You have 0 here, you got 600 here. That's the clue, that's all you got. Now you have to figure out what coordinate is A, B, and C. This is a negative number. These are positive numbers. So good luck on that. That's page 15. And we're moving on to 16. I think that's your job too. That looks like it's just repeating what we just did. All these are positive, so this should be just quadrant 1. So now it's more and more up to you to make your coordinate plane. All you're getting is an empty grid now. You need to draw your axis. Use a ruler if you can, or just trace it. Put an arrow at the end. Call it X. Draw your axis. I'm just indicating it. Arrow at the end. Put a Y. Put in your numbers. Look for your highest number. You might have to go by 2's, not by 1's. Okay, same thing, just less done for you. So call this page homework. And then that's the same down here. Page 16 is all homework. And then we're doing some review games in class. So don't cross this out. We'll try to find time to do at least one of these review games, and this definitely is homework. Vocabulary review is always important. Make sure you fill this in, and that's it. Good luck to you guys.